Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to the newest episode of Last Caw, Frater Crow's Life Experiences. I am your host, Frater Crow. If you're new to the show, welcome. This is a platform where I go over different life experiences that I've gone through. I've lived quite the wild journey, and I tell it in an unfiltered, unrelenting, way. It's a lot of fun. It's funny. It's just a way to hang out with you guys on a Thursday night, aside from my other shows. For those that don't know me, I do run the Coterie of Samil Arcane Occult Order. I am the owner and head investigator on Celestial Oddities Paraseekers Paranormal Group, and owner and operator of Celestial Oddities Radio, encompassing Knights of the Nephilim, Uncovering the Underground, Pair of Normal Guys podcast, Last Caw, and Tenebrious Caniculum. So a lot of different content coming your way. Make sure you click the like, share, follow, subscribe buttons on whatever platform you're tuning in from. Feel free to leave us comments throughout this evening, and I'll be happy to throw them on the screen, read them off, and have you as a part of the show as well. We like, crowd participation. It's good to be here for another evening with you fine folks. And, we're going to talk about faith this evening. So we're going to let some more people jump in. And, starting next week, I'm going to change things up a little bit, and I would like to talk to you guys about that. Okay. Had to check something real quick. So hopefully everyone's doing good. Like I said, last week we did an open discussion, 2 weeks ago, rather. 2 weeks ago, we did an open discussion where we talked about all kinds of different things and did deep dive into some cult content towards the second half of the episode and went over a lot of very valuable pieces of information for the practitioners out there. And this episode, we'll be talking about, practicing ritual, faith, religion, and why it is important in its own way, and how I might look at things a little bit differently than a lot of the other people out there in the field. Let me type up something real quick. That's not what I wanted. Hold on a second here. There we go. Throw that up there. So, like I said, hopefully everyone's having a good night. I am. It's great to always be on the radio with you guys and doing the podcast, talking to some fine folks out there. I recently did a purging of some folks. So if you're out there and you're one of the people I deleted, hopefully you don't take offense to it. I've already had some people message me and they're like, what the fuck, man? You deleted me, but it's people that I've never talked to. It's really strange. Like, hey man, you deleted me. How dare you? And I'm like, I don't know you, bro. I've never talked to you. You've never engaged with one of my posts before. I've never seen you share my stuff. How are you all of a sudden noticing that I got rid of you? One, that's kind of creepy. And second, why are you offended? But I deleted several hundred people. So for anybody that might be like, why did I get deleted? It's not that I don't appreciate your following of the show or maybe even supporting of my material. And you can still do that through the Coterie of Samil and through Celestial Oddities. But I started looking at it like, we have on our personal Facebooks and personal social media a lot of people that we don't actually know in real life, and that's okay. But then within that realm of a lot of people we don't know, there's also a lot of people we've never talked to. So I've had hundreds and hundreds of people that had me on Facebook that never engaged with me, never messaged me, never heard anything from them, but they're there. And it's almost like, why? And I'd just rather delete you and not have to see your life. If you're not engaged in mine, I'm not engaged in yours. What's the purpose? So I know some people get offended, but that's part of the game. The more shit you absorb into your eyeballs, the more shit you get to process in here. And it's just a lot of clutter and noise these days, distractions every turn. So decluttering and eliminating some of those distractors is always advisable. Don't forget, like I said, if you are watching out there, you want to leave comments, then we'll go ahead and throw them up on the screen. We'll read them off. We'll engage with one another. Don't be shy. Be a part of the conversation. This show, unlike my other shows are more, let's interview a guest and let's do this or that. And the comments are a part of it. Comments for this show and engaging back and forth is the whole premise of this show. Now, with that being said, I am going to be mixing it up a little bit here on Last Caw, and I'm going to be bringing on some guests because I do love interviewing people and having, other guests on the show with my other shows. So starting next week, 2 weeks from now, we will be bringing guests on regularly onto this show of all different backgrounds, of all different natures, and just hearing their wild stories of all different kinds of things, from paranormal to supernatural and occult to just everyday life and everything in between. So it'll be a lot of fun, and I am not releasing my guest list yet, but they will be announced soon, and it'll be a lot of fun. Should I do that on this show or leave this show the way that it is and bring back my retired show that was known as Uncovering the Underground, which we did 100 episodes roughly, interviewing bands, models, porn stars, everybody you can imagine in the underground world. We brought on and interviewed them and have hundreds and hundreds of hours of content out. I retired that a couple years ago. I thought about bringing that back for some of these interviews with just everyday folk, but I think it might be more sensible to keep it on this show. If you have thoughts on that or ideas, feel free to drop them. Quite a quiet crowd this evening. I see people watching, but no one's leaving any comments. Probably the people I deleted on Facebook that watch me that I don't know. They're watching me now. With that being said, we will go over some announcements. So with the Coterie of Samil, which is the cult page that I co-run with Natasha Michelle of Little Shop of Lilith, each month we do a different theme on the page, since we decided a few months back to make a public presence of the private cult. Nothing of the inner teachings of the cult, but to give you a little breadcrumbs of things that we can give back to the occult community and different classes that we're running and things of that nature. We haven't done anything in July. We took a break because June was a big month. June, we did a lot about death, and then we did the 14-day death exercise, which had 19 participants. And 19 people reflected all day, every day for 14 days on different aspects of death. And it was very fruitful for everybody that was a part of that course and took it seriously. And then we decided to take July off and not post anything throughout July. It was silence. So we're picking back up come tomorrow, actually. And this month will be on really what the cult is. I think people get it confused. We are the Coterie of Samil. The Coterie stands for cult, and Samil is Samael, or the devil, or Satanas, or Satan. So we are the cult of the devil. So I know some people are like, well, you're a satanic organization? We are. And I think people get surprised because we're not helling Satan every 3 minutes and, doing a lot of the stuff that all these other groups have done for 40 years that have popped up. Is, yes, we very much are devil worshipers. We're very much into our faith. But we have a lot of other things to teach, like our shadow selves and Jungian psychology and how to do ritual magic and a lot of other things that you can implement the satanic portion of it in, but those are structures that need to be understood before it's just hell Satan and a bunch of dark imagery and poems and shit. So I wanted to, in August, give you guys a little bit more of probably what you're looking for in talking about our views of Samael, or of Satan, and our views of how we practice, or what some of our faith or inner beliefs are. Now, once again, it'll only be the top level breadcrumbs that we're providing. It's still going to be fruitful for people, still give something to contemplate on and grow from. But once again, the inner order stuff, the true deeper and darker beliefs and practices, that is something we keep to only the members of the inner order. So I try to segue that, the two parts of it so that people understand. And there's a lot of other things coming. We have a bunch of merch coming. We announced that a couple weeks ago. We have like 7 t-shirts, stickers, coffee cups, panties. What else? I forget what the hell. We have other shit too. A bunch of merchandise. Celestial Oddities Paraseekers has merchandise about to drop. Little Shop of Lilith has merchandise about to drop. So a ton of merch coming your guys' way. You got the whole month of August for talks on Satanism. We have a couple more outings with the team. Next week, we go to Lake Shawnee, an abandoned amusement park in West Virginia. Very apocalyptic looking. Ferris wheel still there. Vines hang from it. It was on Indian burial ground. So once upon a time, it was native ground. They built a amusement park there. There was an accident that happened on that amusement park. It shut down and stayed exactly the way that they left it when they left it. So it is very horror movie-esque, apocalyptic looking. So we're very excited to go camp out for the night there with the team next weekend. And then we have Beale Manor in October, and that's it for us for the year. We did quite a bit this year, earlier in the year. And then we have several really big ones planned for next year. It's going to be pretty wild. Oh, air fresheners. Natasha just jumped on and said, air fresheners. Let me throw a comment up. Yeah, we have air fresheners, folks. And yeah, as Natasha just said, we were very busy throughout the month of August, or July, excuse me. So a lot of things going on with our own personal practices, with the cult, with getting the artwork ready and the merchandise. So I've told people this before, but it's always worth repeating that if you don't hear from us for a while, it's not because we're not doing anything. It's quite the opposite. It's because we're doing so much that we can't jump on here and do our constant updates. So just know that we've been busy. We have a lot of things coming your way. Next year, we're going to be planning, as I've already talked about, some benefit either concerts or benefit events. We haven't decided exactly yet, but we're throwing some benefits to raise some funds and some possibly food for food banks and things of that nature. Doing some public outcry days where we go out and we clean, areas along the river, and we clean cemeteries and clean headstones. And then just a lot of lectures at Little Shop of Lilith as she's doing her lecture series. There'll be a lot of great speakers out there, including myself. I come back in September for the Good versus Evil 2.0. Great lecture on looking at ancient texts, both biblical and non-canonical, and reading it from 2 different perspectives. Reading it as we've been taught or as been common knowledge in the populace, and then stepping aside from that and reading that same passage in a different tone and a different cadence from a different place of pivot, and hearing how the same words read differently from a different standpoint gives 2 very different meanings of the same book. And we're going to do that with a lot of ancient writings. So it'll be a great class if you're in the Pennsylvania area. You want to check that out. That is next month at Little Shop of Lilith in Butler. But like I said, we got a lot of fun stuff coming for you guys very, very soon. So tonight we're going to talk about faith. And it's something, it seems like it's taboo sometimes to talk about in the occult scene, especially when you're on like the left-hand path or in the world of Satanism or diabolism, that when you bring up faith, sometimes people don't bat an eye at it. Oh yeah, faith. Okay. Some people stand for it. Oh, faith is important. And then you have some people that'll step in and say faith is, blasphemous to a Satanist, like you can't have faith. Faith is for the weak. And that always throws me off. Faith isn't necessarily a religious thing. Faith means you believe in it wholeheartedly. I believe in the workings, the connections, the communion, and the conversations and intelligence and download and gnosis that I gain from working with Samael, from working with Satan, from working with the daemons and demons, from the magic that I do. I have absolute faith in my magic, in myself, and the spirit council that I work with. if you could say, is it religious? Well, yeah, I actually believe that Satanism is very much a religious organization. You have people that argue that as well. It's strange because you have people that work so hard, like they're so against Abrahamic faith in the church that they naysay things that don't make sense. Like, we're not about religion. We're not about faith. We're not about this or that. And then they're in an organization who teaches doctrine, who teaches a faith, who teaches a law base that is to be followed within that family, within that cult, within that coven. But then they'll have the fucking audacity to be like, we don't believe in religion, or we don't believe in faith. And that always throws me off, because you're doing exactly what you say you can't stand. It would be more respectable to say that we are completely against Abrahamic faiths and Christianity and whatever, Islam, Judaism, whatever, and then stand fucking proud like a soldier and say, I believe in my faith, I believe in my religion. And that's what I do, and it sets myself apart from a lot of other people out there, because I've always said that my religion, my faith, is diabolism. It's devil worship. I am a devil worshiper. I have no problem telling you that. I have no problem saying that it has a strict guidelines to it. It has a discipline to it. It has rules that must be followed, just like a religion, because it is a religion. Now, we can stand aside from that and be the anarchist, crazy guy. All religion's bullshit. Okay, well, you're faithless then. And a faithless man is useless. If you have no faith whatsoever, you have nothing you believe in, then you're just a hopeless nihilist. And I'm not saying that nihilism doesn't have a place, because it does within the structures of faith. Nihilism is an important tool for the toolbox of anti-cosmic Satanism and diabolism. But not nihilism where it has no faith base whatsoever. Nihilism, a lot of people take simply as its root meaning of, I don't believe in anything. I don't care about anything. Nothing has purpose. And on a rudimentary level, that is what nihilism is. But nihilism is the importance of knowing that a lot of the things around us have no purpose, have no meaning. They are dogmatic. They are entrenching and encapsulating and imprisoning to us, while still believing in our faith. So I'm an anti-cosmic diabolist. I am someone who believes that we are the endless spirit of the Godhead, or the original source, trapped in flesh. And we need to ascend to a certain level of spiritual alchemy and ascendance to be able to break free from the wheel of reincarnation, to break the illusion of Maya and samsara, and unfold and return back to sender. And I would say that there's very nihilistic proponents in my anti-cosmic faith. But people go to too much of one polarized end or another, and you got to understand, with everything, as I've talked about time and time again, balance is key in everything. Hell to you, Kyle. Thank you, brother. Hey, Miles, nice to have you checking out the show, brother. Appreciate it. And I think people always go too much to one end. I fuck everything. Everything's horrible. The world needs to die. Everybody. No, I can sit here and believe that we are in prison right now and that we need to find a way of escape. And you can be the person that, because of that understanding, hates everything, never has a good time, depressed, miserable, and just is a prick to be around. Or you can be the chess master and understand that this is a prison, that we are going to work our asses off while in our cell to reach a level to break free of the cell, but to find ways to indulge and enjoy to a certain level, so that while we are here, we govern and master our life. And that's what Satanism is to me, and that's what diabolism is to me, that I will be a master of my reality while here in the flesh, but to a balanced equilibrium level, that I can not indulge too much that I sink, not steer too clear that I float away and I'm not focused, that I can keep that equilibrium, enjoy myself, break the bonds of coming back here, and you are the master of both flesh and spirit. And I think so many organizations don't understand that. They preach one side or the other, or a mixture of so much, they don't even understand their own doctrine. And then, like I said, so many will say that we're not faith-based, we're not religion. Well, and here's my gripe. If you say you're a theistic organization, but then you turn around and say you don't believe in faith, what the fuck are you talking about? How can you sit there and say we're theistic and we worship the devils, but we don't have faith? Well, then it means you don't have faith in what you're doing. So you're worshiping the devils, but you don't really believe that it's going to work. You don't believe in them. You don't believe that the magic's going to happen and bring materialization or fruition to what you're doing. And that's very strange to me. And this is no specific group that I'm talking about. I've seen this for years from dozens of different groups out there. Hey, what's up, Nocturne? It's just very alarming to me that I think faith is very important. Now, here's the second part. You have a lot of people claiming to be something that they don't really practice. And I've talked about this, nonstop. But what I think people need to understand is if you only do prayer, and I did say prayer, I pray every night for hours, night and morning. I literally do about 2 hours of prayer a day. And that's another thing that Satanists will be like, you pray blasphemy. Yes, I pray to my gods and do workings within that prayer base because I think prayer is beautiful, used in a way of faith for you. So if your faith is in Samael and you pray to Samael vehemently every day, same time of day, nonstop, putting your will and your faith and your desire into those prayers, just like a Christian praying to their God, you will find resonance that comes from it and potency that comes from it because you are putting that focus into your beliefs, into your faith. But if you don't pray, if you don't practice and do ritual, but once a month, maybe twice a month, you're not very devout in your faith. You're not a practitioner, and you need to understand that. Praying, just like you would imagine praying. Hail, O Nakashal Ocker, in the name of the Nakashal Ocker, to my left hand may be Samael, to my right hand Lilith, before me Cain, and behind me Komana, above my head Aisa. Wise is the one who walks the path of the serpent. O Nakashal Ocker, who watched in horror as forms were created when all was made against your will. When all ceases to be, you too shall choose oblivion. Samael, Lilith, you are my father and my mother, my rock and my travel in times of distress. You are El Ocker, my other god. You are my shelter, my chalice of oblivion. When I sleep, I am with you, and with you I shall always remain. The Nakash El Ocker is with me, and I shall not fear. That's prayer. That's prayer based on my faith of the Nakash El Ocker, of the other god, of the Serpent King. So when you have that prayer, just like Christianity, just like Islam, just like other cultures all over the world from the dawning of time have had faith in prayer, but you'll find in diabolism and Satanism so many different groups that they blaspheme that. Oh, prayer and faith and religion, and it's like they try so fucking hard to be edgy. You try so fucking hard to be like left field, left hand path, that the whole fucking point's lost. Merrick said, I don't have blind faith. I have confidence and trust in the different deities, beings, spirits, etc. I work with. And that's the difference. I don't think it should be blind faith. And I think that when you're a neophyte or you're beginning, that you gotta work with different avenues until you find what resonates with you. And that's one of the big things Natasha and I say all the time. Do what resonates with you, discard the rest, question everything, including us, as you always should, as anyone should. You're going to try practices that you thought were for you to find no resonance there. No matter if it works for your neighbor, your best friend, your partner, doesn't matter. You try it, you're putting your work into it, nothing happens. Cut it, move on. You find something else, you try it, doesn't work, cut it, move on. And then you find that thing that as you're praying or as you're doing ritual or as you're focusing your will, you're getting a return out of it. You're getting all of a sudden this new insight, this new gnosis that's coming to you. You're getting inspiration for things that you didn't before. The channels are open and you're finding spirit. then you say, you know what, this isn't blind faith, this is true faith, and this is something I'm starting to resonate with and put my focus into. And I think that's important, that it should never be blind faith. You know, if I tell you this is potent, this is what works, you're doing this, and you just say, okay, and you start following exactly my formula to a T, but you don't feel anything from it, and you're just following it because you look up to me and I'm telling you to do it, that is blind faith, and that's the worst thing you could do. Reverence, as Natasha said, is very important, and that's what I pay to my gods. I mean, morning prayers, nighttime prayers, incense offerings, mantras, mudras, morning rituals, Monday and Friday rituals, to one specific set of things. You have your disciplined days for certain things. Monday and Friday every week, you can count on me doing a ritual every single week, about 2 to 3 hours a night, both of those days a week, to specific spirits. Saturday to a very specific type of spirit or section of spirits. Every morning to a different section of spirits. You start to organize your life. It shouldn't, how can I say this? You don't organize your faith into your life. You organize your life around your faith, if that makes sense. And some people won't agree with that, and that's okay, because you absorb it in and you work around it. Because so many people, their excuse will be, well, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to put all that prayer in and ritual. Yes, you do. Because unless you're working 80 hours a week, and some people might, and if that's the case, it is very hard for you. But I have people out there that work 40 hours a week or 35 hours a week, and they're like, well, I don't have the time to be a devout practitioner. No, you don't have the strength to be. You have plenty of fucking time. I was under the impression that faith was a right-hand path thing. Thank you for sharing your perspective. Yeah, because Nocturne, the people that you've watched and followed, have all blasphemed faith and prayer and religion while being a faith-based religion who does invocations. What's an invocation? An invocation is a cousin of prayer. What are you doing when you invoke a spirit? When you're calling out to him and doing incantations? Any spirit out there, I call great Beelzebub to come down within my temple on this day of this hour. You are praying. That's a form of prayer. But people don't want to say that because they have such trauma from organized religion that to use the word prayer, they feel like they're losing a piece of themselves in that rebellious personality persona that they've created. They can't give in and say religion, faith, or prayer because they feel like, I'm not blaspheming enough the religion. And that's the thing, is that's a part of ego. That's a part of all of these groups out there that want to be so ooky and spooky. It's just like, what the fuck is the point? Like, I practice as much as anyone out there, and I don't understand the need to have to put up this persona. Some of you might have seen a video of me dancing with my kids 2 days ago, I think, yesterday. I don't know what fucking day it was. And I actually got 2 different messages from people. One said, thank you for always being just so open with everything and showing your life. And yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't I be? You know, I'm happy to show my life. This is my life. But I had another person say that they found my video strange because I'm a knowledgeable practitioner and I have my Knights of the Nephilim show and I've put out a lot of this darker content. And they found it strange that I would be dancing around to like mainstream music and laughing and being silly and goofy. I got this fucking message today. I found it very strange to me. But it made me think about this persona, because a lot of these satanic leaders, a lot of these darker left-hand path pagan organizations out there, they don't let you see into their life. They don't let you see their family. And I understand that. I can understand not wanting to show your family. I'm just using this as an example. They don't want to show their families. They don't want to show them out at concerts. They don't want to show them just walking down the street talking about random everyday life things. They want you to believe them. They want you to follow them. They want you to give your faith to them, but they don't want to let you see anything about them except the persona and the deific mask that they wear. We talk about deific masks and spirits. Well, a lot of different people in the occult are playing a character in one way or another. Some are truly playing a character because they don't do any of the shit that they say they do. That's one type of character or costume or mask. But then you have people who are doing the practices, But they build this public persona like they're a rock star. You know what I mean? Like you're seeing what the Hollywood's giving you. And that's not the real person, but you believe it is because that's the story, the narrative that you're being fed. And they feed you this narrative so that you follow that. And they never let you see who they really are, because they're afraid to let you see who they are, because they feel if you see some of the regular everyday life, then you'll lose some respect for them. And some people will, like this person this morning. I think they lost respect for me because I was dancing with my kids. Fuck you. Fuck everything about you. Fuck you. Fuck your family. Don't ever come at me and sit there and say you find it strange that I would be silly and weird with my kids, because they're my children. I would do anything for them. They come before anybody. And I will fucking dress up in a princess gown and let my daughter paint my nails if she wants to do it. And I don't worry about what people think of me or say about me. And if that makes people look at me different, blow me. I don't give a shit. I'm not here for you. I'm not here to be your idol. I don't want to be your idol. Put your faith into the gods, not into me. I'm man. I'm fallible. I'm just a regular everyday guy who worked hard at my craft. And this goes back to faith. I have my faith. My faith is strong. I teach what I can and give breadcrumbs. But I don't need to be the puppet on the string that you guys watch and like look up to. If you look up to me after the fact of everything, cool. But if you don't, cool. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. I couldn't tell you anything about Wicca, brother. Never practiced Wicca. I've only ever been a Satanist, a Diabolist. That's it. Hecatian work as well, which kind of fits in that wheelhouse, but separate. Hecatian sorcery, Satanism, and Diabolism. That's it. And some other things that shall not be named. Try to get through these comments. Holy shit. I've experimented with a lot as such. I've left a lot of things behind. Yeah, America. I mean, that's the thing, is as have I. I mean, I just said that these are all the things I've been, but I have tried other things. I've adopted pieces of other things, and I've been questioned about that before. People say, well, wait a second, this little piece of what you're doing is this, and this little piece of what you're doing is that. So you have like 6 different practices and praxises all together in what you're doing. Well, absolutely. I've deemed Gnostic diabolism is what the Coterie practices. Gnostic diabolism makes up 3 things. Gnostic being syncretized, synthetic. No, I don't want to say synthetic. What's the word I'm looking for? Let's say synchronized. A lot of different pieces, syncretic, that's the word I was looking for. Syncretic pieces of all different faith bases and religions and practices together, and what I resonate with and what I don't, I bring together what I resonate with. So when you say Gnostic, it's syncretized Gnostic devil worship. Pieces that work. I use a mala in a lot of my work. Do I practice Hinduism? No. Do I respect Hinduism and have taken a lot from it in my personal practice? Yes. But I'm not a Hindu and I don't practice Hinduism. Same thing with mantras. I think mantras are amazing and I use mantras all the time. But that's a way of pulling pieces that work within my practice, work with what works with you. But over time, I've had to drop a lot of different things where at one point in time, I thought I was going to practice Hinduism as my path. And I said, you know what? There's several pieces that jive with me and several pieces that just don't. So I took what resonated and I discarded the rest, as one should. No blind faith. But it doesn't mean you can't adopt things that work. Power tools are power tools. I tried Wicca. I didn't like it. I felt like another form of Christianity. Thing is, man, don't compare things to Christianity. Christianity is Christianity. There's other things that are going to be like it, sure, but they're not Christianity. Just like Christianity is like many other things that came before it that, you know, obviously Christianity didn't exist at that time. Christianity adopted the pagan mystery cults. They repainted it with Jesus. And that's what Christianity is. I mean, Christianity is Osiris and Isis. Christianity is Mithras. Christianity is Krishna. It is a lot of different religions and beliefs and gods and goddesses that existed before Christianity, before Judaism. You know, these faiths have taken the mystery ideas, the mystery cults, and they've adopted it and painted it with new pictures. Many faith-based systems all over the world have just repainted the same stories. It's about initiation. So people don't understand is like they get so wrapped up in like Jesus Christ, this and that. Well, that's great, but Jesus Christ didn't exist, bro. Jesus Christ was an allegory for initiation from your lower self to your higher self. based upon other religions that said the same fucking thing. Now, it doesn't mean if you don't pray with that spirit and put your faith into it, which is a different story, that you won't get return out of it. But let's understand that there's a reason for myth and mythos, and how our will and intent and imagination spark a fucking combustible source that creates phenomena and paranormal activity and gnosis and growth. But let's not like it's so wrapped up in the myths that we believe like everything happens, that like Persephone was literally taken by Hades in a chariot to the underworld, that somewhere in a field here on Earth it fucking split and Hades grabbed her and brought her down. Do you believe that? It's okay to believe in these gods and work with them, but these are allegorical stories. Persephone personified the dying of all that was on Earth as far as vegetation and crops, going to Hades winter, and in the spring she comes back, but must always return in the winter because she ate the pomegranate that Hades offered her, the seeds of hell. We have to understand that they're great, powerful stories, but they're allegories for the truths of being alive and experiencing the flesh as an endless spirit. We're all spirit here on the battleground of flesh to experience things, telling ourselves stories to understand the higher truths of what we already are. Let's get into some of these comments. I feel like right-hand path, they will be done. I feel like right-hand path, thy will be done. Left-hand path, my will be done. Always seemed the most simplified way to explain the difference to me. But like you just said, not blind faith. Faith in myself and my spirits, my will with my gods. And Natasha, that's exactly it. And I love how you said that. I feel like right-hand path, thy will be done. Left-hand path, my will be done. And that Nocturne would be I would agree, be my biggest delineation between them, is that a lot of right-hand path is placing your faith into something else. Do this for me. Dear Father, make this happen in my life. Please change this. Heal this person. Remove this person from my life, dear Father. Left-hand path, it's give me the power to remove this person from my life. Let me heal my loved one. Let me destroy my enemy. Or you don't even ask them to let you. You just have the power inside you to do a spell and destroy them. It's your will. Thy will, not thy will be done, my will be done. And that's a very powerful statement. Who I honor with reverence. Exactly, and there should be reverence. I mean, with my spirits, I'm giving feasts to, I'm giving alcohol to, I'm giving coffee to, I'm giving water to, depending upon the spirit. I'm giving full-blown meals, steaks, livers, pork chops, chicken, soup, eggs, honey, cinnamon, all kinds of different things you're giving to your spirits as offerings and energetic power points. Do they eat the food? In a way, energetically. But the respect that you give to buy those things and the sacrifice of your money to buy, to prepare, to cook, to present, and give in itself is energy you're giving to the spirit. It's respect you're giving to the spirit. And then they do pull astral energy from those things, which it charges them to do more things within ritual. Sincerity, integrity, and respect are all just as much as important as reverence. Exactly, and then that's it too. And as you heard me say, I mean, that really goes into it. It's about how respectful you are to the spirits, how much will and reverence you put into it, how sincere you are. And I can't say enough about sincerity and integrity. Integrity is very important. Never let someone sway your feelings, your beliefs, and your love for what you do because they naysay you. Have integrity in your own beliefs and what resonates with you. Have integrity to do what's right and don't fold because of anyone or anything. And sincerity is very important because people ask me all the time how I have so much activity when I go on paranormal outings. It's because I'm not treating them like circus animals. I go out and talk to the spirits very sincerely and let them know that I am there to be with them. I don't give a fuck about the equipment that's there. I don't care about capturing them or showing proof of their evidence. I don't care about that. That's why you don't see a lot of that from my group. We go out and say, we are here to talk with you. We drove 400 miles today to talk with you. Let's talk if you wish. And they do, because you're showing sincerity. And that's very important. We all have 24 hours a day. Make the time. Yes, Merrick, and that's it, brother. And I know you make the time as well. Merrick's a very devout practitioner in his faith bases, and that's what it's about. If you plan, say you're a neophyte, say you're someone starting right now, and you've never been involved in religion or faith or practice or ritual, and you think that you're going to be very strong in your faith, your praxis, and be very dedicated, but you're not going to change your time schedule at all and keep the same way that you're living right now as someone who isn't practicing, walk away, because you're out of your fucking mind. I had to change everything. Like I said, I had to change my life around my faith, not change my faith around my life. No. I said, you know what? I have to get up now at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning when I could get up at 7. Why? Why would I lose that sleep? I love to sleep, right? Well, because in order for me to have the time amongst having a family and a home and a career and other adventures that I'm part of, I have to now lose hours of sleep to do it. So now at 4:30 in the morning, 4:45 in the morning, you're getting up. You're doing stretching, you're doing lifting, you're doing meditation, you're doing ritual, you're doing prayer. And then you start your day. Guess what? You have 45 minutes right now that you don't have anything going on. You can sit and watch TV. You can sit and fuck off and do nothing. Or you can get to your temple and meditate. You can get to your temple and pray. You can get to your temple and do a small ritual, or just reflect or do introspection on your life or things that you've recently read and really find out the deeper rooted meaning of it. But you have people that'll sit there on the couch for 45 minutes and didn't do a fucking thing. You have people who slept into the very moment they had to get up and get ready for work, and they're rushing as quick as they can to be ready for work. That's not living an effective life, even if you're not practicing. To be the person that wakes up minutes before you have to get up, get a quick shower, straight to work, you come home, you do everything you have, straight to bed or straight to watching TV all day, you're missing out on the greatness that you could be by weakness. And I believe in that. That's why anybody in the Coterie of Samil understands that it is changing everything about you. It's changing the way you eat, changing the way and what you drink. It's changing the way you sleep, you breathe, you live, you practice. Everything has to change. Your body is your temple. Treat it like one. If you are lazy, you're forcing every food and drink you want in, you just sleep all the fucking time, you're useless to religion. You're useless to faith. You're useless to the gods. You're useless to yourself. Perfect those things, and you'll watch your practice perfect. And yes, you focus your life around your faith. Yeah, good to know. Absolutely, man. Like I said, again, you can take what resonates, discard the rest, as I always said. There's going to be other people out there who are more notable than me. I don't care to be a notable person, but they're going to say, oh, faith, fuck what Frater Crow's saying. You know, this isn't a religion. This isn't faith. Well, if that resonates with you and you want to be the blaspheme person, that's cool. But these are the same dudes who wear masks and same dudes who fucking, act all ooky spooky. So I think that like resonates with people. Like, I guess if I wore like some crazy fucking get up right now, maybe people would take me more seriously in certain regards. But I think a lot more people, the ones that actually matter, take me serious because I don't need to do that. But the people who have done ritual with me and practiced with me and gone on paranormal outings, they can tell you stories and say, holy fuck, dude's legit. And it's because I don't need to play a character. I only need to be myself. And I just, it's so disheartening to watch so many people buying so much into their own character. You create that character when you're born. From the moment you're born till now, you've been just playing a person on the stage show of life. And you can change that character at any time or how that character lives. But instead of peeling layers back and being more of yourself within your character, people keep adding layers on, and their self gets lost with all this extra props and clothing that they put on. But the whole world believes that this character is amazing. You don't even know who the fuck you are. You've lost yourself as the character instead of being the character that resonates with you, if that makes sense. You need to make time for your practice. Absolutely, Tammy. I mean, it should be every day. I'm a firm believer, and anybody who's a part of anything I do, they understand that that's expected every day. So I said, like, people that practice once, twice a month, and that means everything from prayer to ritual, and only do once to twice a month, and they're like, I am a master. I am a fucking Jedi warrior of magic. You're a clown. You know, and like I said, unless you're working 85 hours a week. So I do have people out there I know that are like, I work doubles every single day. Well, you know what? That 10 minutes you have, just do a prayer to your gods. Find a way to adapt your life around your faith, like I said. But I understand it's not as easy for some as others. But the people who have the time and don't be telling people you're something you're not. And don't be thinking you're something serious if you're not serious about your practice. Every single fucking day, you should be doing your practice. I don't care how tired you are. For instance, this podcast will end tonight. It would be great just to go straight upstairs, brush my teeth, wash my face, climb in bed, and pass the fuck out, right? That'd be nice. I won't allow myself to do that. As soon as I'm done and click the end button, I'm going to stand up and stretch, take a drink of water. I'm going to go straight into my fucking temple and spend an hour in devout prayer. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up, come down into my temple, practice ritual, do meditation and prayer, start my day, wake my kids up, and get the day going. Your day should end with your faith. Your day should begin with your faith. You should be devout, because the more you give is the more you get in return. The more you show affection and love and reverence and respect and integrity and sincerity to your gods, the more they will give back to you in your life for the things around you, and the more that they'll give you so that you can draw in the things through magnetism to you that you need in life. And that's when characters start to change. If you ever see someone who claims to be a master in magic, but their life's all fucked up, and I'm not saying that there won't be periods of life getting fucked up. That's a different story. Some spirits you work with will do that because they have to shake some rust loose. But I'm saying people, if you followed them for 4 years and you're like, for the last 4 years, this guy's always, or this woman's always bitching. They're always complaining. Everything's always wrong with them constantly. But they're claiming to be some fucking great wizard. They're not. Because if they were truly putting in the work, their life would get better, not worse. Except for those rocky periods we will go through from time to time, but they don't last forever. Evocation is the cousin of prayer. That's a great lesson. Well, I would say invocation, more incantation. Incantation is the cousin of prayer. When you're doing an incantation, you're saying power words and mantras and different things that you're using, depending upon your formulation of incantation, to draw in a spirit, whether it's going to be invocation and you're bringing the spirit down from super consciousness, from the divine realms down into you, or you're evoking and pulling up out of you on an external lens. You're usually using incantations to do invocation or evocation. An incantation is the cousin of prayer. The will may be the same if the faith is strong. The will and faith towards the same design. Yes, 100% agree. Merrick said, I love the video of you dancing with your kids. Exactly, man. It was fun. And there's a lot of people that would never show that because they'd be embarrassed. But that's living in the ego again. Why would you be embarrassed that a bunch of people that don't fucking mean anything would think possibly ill of you? And I'm just raw as shit when I talk, so I know some people can't handle that. People out there be like, but I love you, man. You're saying I don't mean anything to you. Of course you mean something to me, but at the end of the day, you don't mean anything to me. And I mean that in the nicest of ways, that if I'm going to put up a video of me and my kids dancing, having fun, doing something silly, I don't give a shit if anyone doesn't like it or thinks it's ridiculous, or they're going to use it as a tool against me to say, oh, he's some great practitioner, but look at him. He's jumping up and down like a pussy. Well, you know what? That's cool, man, because I'm not here to impress you. I'm not here to dance on your stage. I dance on my own stage, the stage that I fucking run. And most people will appreciate that. Like I said, the ones that don't are the people that don't fucking matter. So fuck you. Go follow someone who's spooky. They can tell you all about their spookiness. Because when I step in ritual, I'm serious as fuck. There's a very silly side and really, crazy and outgoing side in life, and really fun, and a party animal, and that guy that you hang out with. And then there's a light switch that's sent. When I step into ritual, it is serious as serious can be. I don't joke around. I don't fuck around. It's very, very serious. It's okay to be more than one person within yourself, or have different avenues, I should say, within your personality. There are some very narcissistic people in the left. And there's narcissistic people everywhere in every fucking faith or every walk of life, no matter what you're doing. People become so full of themselves because they build that character, as I've talked about. Instead of dissolving the ego and understanding that it's a sheet that you wrap around you or a costume and using it as such, being a master of your world. You can't kill the ego. What you do is you beat the ego into submission until you understand that that is separate. This is you. And then you integrate it. Don't be consumed by it. You separate from it. Understand and see and recognize the separation between your true self and the character you play, and then pull that character back on and then work it like a fucking god, because that's the way you master life. Always knowing I am not this, but I can use this as a tool. And a lot of people don't do that, and they add those layers, like I said, and then they become narcissistic and they're so wrapped up in them. What is more disgusting than someone that's obsessed with themselves? It's fucking weird. Doesn't mean you can't love yourself. I love myself. I think I'm great. But I'm also not wrapped in the ego. I understand that this is a character I'm playing. Merrick says, I have even more respect for you because you were having fun with your kids. Absolutely, brother. You know what I mean? Like, if you were to ever not do something fun with your kids, your friends, your significant other, and those around you, if you were to ever hold back from silly or fun times because you're afraid of what someone else might think, what someone else might say, or if the people who follow you will now stop following you or trash talk you, then you're a pussy. Because you've let other people dictate your life. How are you a master of your life if you worry about the words of others? You're not. Like I said, and people need to reflect on it. There's people that would probably do a lot more with their kids that don't, because they're afraid of what other men or what other women or what other people would think. Well, do you have a partner? Yeah, I'm with my wife or my husband, and I've been with them for a long time. Are you looking for another partner? Well, no, I'm happily married. Okay. Do you love your kids? Yes. Do they love you? Yes. Then why do you care if someone laughs at you and thinks you're silly or don't like you? You have your partner. You have your children. You have everything you need. Anything else is great. But I don't think people see that. They'll let other people's opinions that don't matter dictate their life. And imagine your kid. You seen how in that video how happy my kids were. I could have not done that dance with them yesterday or ever do the dance parties with them. They'd still have a great life, but they wouldn't have those memories and those times with me, all because I was scared of what people would think or what I would think of myself. Gotta fucking be silly sometimes, guys. Laugh a little. Nocturne says, funny how the Christians won't admit it. I'm not sure what part that was to, but, you know, we're not going to get started on the Christian thing. Too much to unpack there. I believe everything happens. I'm so far behind on these comments that I'm not sure what part we're even talking to right now. That's a very interesting, you mentioned that about Jesus. I find the Eastern Orthodox version of Jesus fascinating. There's several Jesuses. Charles Manson said it. What Jesus are you worshiping? I'm Jesus. You're looking at him right now. There's the Elvis Jesus out in Las Vegas. There's the such and such Jesus down in Tennessee. And he's right, because there's tons of Jesus. There's alien Jesus. People have theories that Jesus was an alien from another planet. People have theories that Jesus was actually Lucifer. People have theories that Jesus was just in spirit, that Jesus was a man. There's a million different Jesuses because it's faith. It's what resonates with you. It's your own personal lore. As my friend Frater Barabbas would say, everyone must build their own lore. My version of Satanas or Satan or Samael is different than people outside of the Coterie of Samil. There might be similarities, but it's going to be different. Does that mean I'm right, you're wrong, or you're right and I'm wrong? No. That means that you used your own personal lore of what resonated with you and what didn't to build your praxis. And if you put enough devout faith and energy into it, it will reap the fruits and benefits, and you will grow and can possibly ascend from it. I can do the same with a different version of Satan, because that gets into that one-to-one counterpart I've talked about so much. It's you and it's the spirit. Spirits are internal, but they're also external. There's a one-to-one counterpart there, and everyone can have similar experiences with different backgrounds and different ideologies. The perennial philosophy. Allegory, metaphor, and symbolism often stimulate our imaginations for more than cold, hard facts. And that kind of goes with what I just said, is there's things that are going to stimulate you more than what the mainstream narrative is. And there are facts that people say, oh, this is a fucking fact. This happened this way. Well, you know what? That's cool, but that might not give you as much power as something that you have personal gnosis of that no one else in the world's ever heard. But it resonates with you at such a deep-rooted level that means more than any fact or any history can ever give you. Alistair Timberlake said, just compressed energies, but everything is in a grain of sand. Yeah, everything is imbued with energy. Everything is imbued with the God force, if you want to call it that. We can give it a million different names. Of source, it's in everything. It's in this bottle of water. Water has energy in it. This plastic has energy in it. This desk, my headphones, my glasses, all of it has energy to different frequencies and vibrations. We are literally a giant ball of energy fucking ourselves. Everything I touch and stimulate, I'm energy, just fucking other energies, and they're doing the same back to me. And they overlay that with the ego and with the lower physical flesh self so that we can have like a play that we can partake in. We are God experiencing itself as billions of different perspectives over millions of lives in billions of years. And once again, I'm far behind on the comments, so I'm throwing up a couple of them real quick. You just answered my question, Frater Crow. I'm glad. Nocturne, I'm not sure which question, but I'm glad I answered it. I share my meals and buy treats for the ones I work with. And there you go. You can commune with them. Hey, Britt. She said, integrity is everything, and it certainly is. Merrick said, I had a problem with someone being very disrespectful towards me, so I left a food offering at a local war memorial to all those who sacrificed their lives in World War I and World War II. She fucked around. She's gonna find out. And that's it. When you're sincere and you have integrity with your spirits and with the spirits you work with, and you make sincere offerings to them, there are a lot of spirits that'll help you because they resonate with your frequency. They say, this is a sincere person. This is someone who I have a resonance with, and I'm willing to help them. And they gave me an offering. They gave me sustenance, which energizes me to do the job, but also the respect. And they've given me something to do, because in endless time, there's endless time. So when they're given a task, spirits enjoy it. Not always. Some don't like bothered at all. You know, I was talking about this with a friend the other day. Some spirits just don't like bugged. But, you know, spirits of the dead, for example, they love being able to do things. In most cases, they love being able to come back and do something. Always make the time. And that's it. Always make the time. I do not listen to those excuses. Oh, I wish I had the time that you had. I'm like, well, and sometimes it's people that just blow my fucking mind. Not married, don't have any kids, work 40 hours a week, if that, and that's it. And I'm like, wait a second. You're telling me as a single bachelor with no responsibilities other than going to work, you can't find the time to practice? If I was you, I would be fucking practicing nonstop. I practice nonstop now around my responsibilities, but if I had no responsibilities, it's probably a good thing. I would be a true hermit. I'd be a psycho. I would practice so much I'd go completely insane. But, you know, I don't take kindly to those excuses, because you're trying to make everybody believe, oh, woe is you. No, fuck you. Balls up and do your work. You will make time for what's important for your practice, or to me, you're wasting your time. You'll never grow. Exactly. Paul said, so true. They are a joke. Exactly. After is meditation time. Yeah. And you should meditate after your work, because that's when you're really going to bring in the insight. You do a big ritual working. You have a lot of power during the ritual. And then, and it's not to say you can meditate every time. Sometimes you can't. I get it. But you do this huge ritual. You have all this energies. You feel the atmospheric changes in the room. You feel that there's something there. You're getting hints of that. And then, like, you sit there for a couple minutes, and then you're like, all right, you can return back from whence you've come, and you give the license to depart. And then you step out of the circle and you go to bed. You can still have dreams of it, or you go about your day depending upon the time of day, and that's okay sometimes. But where you're going to get the most knowledge is the meditation during the ritual, and then sometimes the introspection that comes by sitting after the ritual and meditation, when things just start seeping in. And people who never do that, they're missing out. Or their life and they are, or their life and they as people haven't changed at all. I just did a video on it. Yeah, that's what I said. You can't expect to be some great practitioner and to master your life if you're not happy with your life and you think you're going to become a practitioner to master your life, but you're not willing to change your life. How is that possible? If you want to change your life, you have to change the things around you, change the things in you to change. People expect change without changing, and I don't understand that logic. I want everything to be great now. I want my life to go smooth as butter, but I don't want to change a fucking thing that I'm doing right now. Well, good luck. Let me know how that goes for you. Some of the nastiest narcissists I've met are alleged Buddhists, reducing their practice to a pantomime of narcissism. Yeah, and then that's how you know, Merrick, that it's not, because, I mean, if you're following devoutly Buddhism, you're not going to have that egoism. You're not going to be narcissistic, because the whole point is to dissolve it, especially in Buddhism. You're supposed to dissolve that ego. So it's just strange when you see that. It's just like I said, there's a lot of things in the left-hand path or in the satanic community that I see people promoting as like this major triumph of their faith and their practice as a left-hand path practitioner. And I'm like, but you're going the opposite direction, bro. You're going the wrong way for mastery. But who am I? Do you? If it resonates with you, do it. I can't speak about your path, but I can tell you that some things just alarm me a little bit. This whole discussion is taking parts of a long conversation with a friend earlier. Same concepts on many levels, some almost word for word, and there's those lovely synchronicities. Well, it's usually how it works. Whenever truth is being spoken, it will resonate and syncretize with many things around you. If you live truthfully and you hear someone speaking truthfully, they will often click together like puzzle pieces. Corinne said, how do you suggest meditation after calling upon entities to help you? I mean, well, there's different versions of meditation. You have to get past the level of distraction, which is so fucking hard. It's one of the hardest things in spirituality in general. Learning incantations, reciting incantations, making ritual tools and all that's hard in its own right, but pales in comparison to quieting your own busy monkey mind. So I would say start outside of ritual, not with the spirits, and get into a daily practice, if you can, the same time of day, because there is something to be said about following the same structure. So every day at 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., not at first, you're never going to do an hour at first. Every day from 6 a.m. till 6:10, you sit for 10 minutes in absolute silence and you don't allow yourself to try to think. For the first month, you're going to constantly think, oh shit, I got to go to work later. I don't want to do that. What are the kids doing? Oh no, this happened yesterday. Did I pay that bill? Did I leave that open? You're going to think all these weird random thoughts. The key to it is not to battle them. When you try to be like, shut up, try to push it out, then all you do is push it out for another one to come in. You have to remain calm. In the nose, out the mouth. That's important. 4 in the nose, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. The fourfold breath is very important at first. You're going to do that consistently. Start for 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Eventually, after a month or two, you should be to 45 minutes, an hour or more if you can. I would say you want to stick to 30 to 45 minutes a day in meditation. It's vital. And like I said, when those thoughts come in, don't pay them any heed. Don't indulge in them, which also means don't destroy them. Because indulging in them, starting to really get absorbed by them. Oh, fuck, I do got to go to work later. And oh, man, I got that report due today at work. And oh, that's indulging because you're living it. But also indulging in it is trying to beat it away with a stick. You're indulging it. Oh, no, get out of here, get out of here. You have to just let it come in Don't pick it up. Don't let it go. Just let it float by. And it will. You'll watch it just. And another one will come. And what you'll find is, as staying disciplined and doing it every day, same time of day if you can, and building over time a little more and more, those thoughts will, till you get to an emptiness. And when you get to that emptiness, it'll almost be like a dreamlike state that when you come out of it later, you'll know you weren't sleeping, but it'll be reminiscent of sleep because you're entering higher levels of consciousness. When you're in the hypnagogic state of sleep, you're very receptive to things. That's just before you fall asleep and right after you wake up. That stage where a lot of times you'll have song lyrics come to you if you're an artist, or pictures of things that you're painting. That's when a lot of inspiration comes to you, just as you're no longer so attached to yourself and you're drifting away. And just as you're waking up and starting to come back to yourself, that stage has a lot of use for you. That's very reminiscent of the stage of deep meditation. And it's like a dreamlike state. So when you get to that point where you can keep that quiet mind, you'll start picking up inspirations and interactions with beings in general. But once you can do that consistently, Corinne, that's when you want to adopt that into your practice. So after you've sat and meditated, pre-meditated, because we have to get into structure now. That's after you've done all that and you're doing ritual. Your ritual should always start by preparing your temple, cleansing your temple, sitting down and grounding for a little bit just to get yourself centered, stepping up, doing your opening, doing your incantations, your petitions, your offerings and sacrifice, your deep meditation and connection, or scrying if you're looking to see the spirit, followed by your closing and license to depart, sitting again and meditating, banishing, and then going and refulfilling your body, drinking, eating, relaxing, and jotting in your grimoire. I've used this term many times. It's from Alistair Nocht from the Magnum Opus Satanic Coven. He said ends: eat, nourishment, drink, and scribe. So you're going to eat, you're going to drink, you're going to eat, you're going to, how did it ends? E-N-E-N-D-S. I'm fucking myself up right now. Eat, drink. Pretty much what he's saying, and I'm fucking myself up, is you're going to relax, you're going to sit down and get comfortable. You're going to drink some fluid to revitalize your body. You're going to eat some food to strengthen yourself. Ritual takes a lot out of you, or it should. And then you're going to scribe in your grimoire, so you have your your recount of the circumstance. Because what happens a lot of times, you're going to be kind of like a weird state, like a hypnotized state. A lot of times the next morning I'll wake up and read notes and I'm like, what the fuck? I don't remember any of that. Like, when did that happen? Or just in a daze. There's times I blank out after ritual. The ritual's finished and I sit there and my eyes are open and I'm staring at the floor and I just vanish for half an hour. And then I come back and look around the room and I'm like, holy shit, like just completely out of it. And that should happen. That's a sign that it worked. Corinne said, I use music ends. Is that the same of meditation you're talking about? Well, I mean, you can. Shamanic drumming, different meditations or guided meditations is different. So like if you're listening to a guided meditation, don't do that during ritual, but I would do that as part of your daily practice if it helps you, because guided meditations will help lead you to very deep levels of yourself. And that can be a way that you start to get to that quietness and that receptive period. You have to understand that a lot of people want the reward without doing the work. So they'll learn the incantations, they'll make the ritual tools, they'll learn the practical side of doing the ritual. But then they're like, I'm not getting any results. I'm like, well, how much time do you spend meditating? Oh, I don't fucking meditate. I don't have time for that. Or, I meditate like twice a month, 3 times a month. I'm like, well, how the fuck do you expect any results to happen? That's like saying you want the firecracker to explode, but you don't want to light it. Well, it doesn't fucking work like that. The meditation's the flame. The ritual's the firecracker. You need them both because you're doing the structure right. You're doing the song and dance right in ritual. You're bringing in the energies. But if you don't have your mind clear and receptive to receive those energies, those subtle bodies, those influences, then you're not going to receive them. They're going to be dancing around in front of you, fucking waving their hands. And you're like, why are they not here? Or why am I not experiencing anything? Because you haven't opened the channels of yourself to see and connect to them. Now, like I said, ends will help you. And if you're doing demonology and doing diabolism in certain regards, ends will be important. You can repeat the end over and over, and it's a mantra. That's all an end is. It's like a left-hand path. Like, we don't want to call it mantra because we don't want to copy Hinduism. You're doing a fucking mantra. Renektasa larak umbasa. Larektasa umbasa. You're just repeating a N. You know, that's all it is. It's just a mantra. So you're saying it over and over again. And when you put that will, that focus, that imagination, that integrity into it, and you've already did your incantations, your openings properly, you've centered and grounded yourself. Now you're focusing on that scrying mirror, that sigil, and you're repeating over and over again that N, and you're building yourself up. And it should be a song and dance. A lot of times when I'm doing ritual, I bounce back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm building up, getting hype. It's like getting ready to go into a fight. You're like smacking yourself. You're like, fuck yeah, I'm getting hype, right? Well, that's how it should be during ritual. You should be kind of moving around. Don't be so stagnant. You know, move around a little bit, get the blood flowing, get the fluids flowing. You're saying the end back and forth, and you're building yourself up. You're building yourself up. You're not breaking eye contact from that mirror. And at points when you really feel that come down in, then you can go silent. Don't need to repeat anything. Don't need to move. And then focus your scrying gaze. Break into that hypnagogic gaze, which is a deeper level of meditation. You have to take it step by step. Learn the basics, just silencing the monkey mind. Learn to then tap into that stage of insight and inspiration. Then learn to get into the scrying gaze, where you can fix your position of your eyes on a single point without blinking, without moving, and watch it until the world literally turns into pixels. And if you know, you know. We are in a pixelated hologram. The more you scry and stare, you watch the canvas of the room around you, the backdrop of the world around you start to get hazy, and it literally looks like clouds of white smoke are all over the room. And then sometimes you'll watch them literally pixelate like a broken TV screen. And then they just fade out. And you're locked into the scrying mirror. And then when you connect with the divinity, and sometimes you're not fully there yet, and you'll see things moving, and you can communicate that way. The deeper level is when it literally grabs you and you grab it and you merge. You're bringing that spirit down to you or up to you, while you're also raising up or lowering down until you're right with each other. And then that's powerful in itself. But then you get to the stage where you're not just staring at each other, you're now linked and connected with each other. And that's where sometimes you'll blank out. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It can be scary at first, it's part of ritual. The deeper you go, the deeper you go. And when you connect to these spirits, sometimes you'll be staring so long at the scrying mirror, it comes down, it connects with you, and then you go to envision, where your eyes roll back or your eyes close, and you're astral traveling. You're going to other realms of existence outside of the physical understanding and seeing a lot of symbolism. That's what people don't understand. And that's how a lot of times you can tell if people are bullshitting you, because they tell these I can't fucking talk tonight. These phantasmagorical stories of these things that these spirits are doing. And I'm like, well, that's possible in some regards. But if they don't mention like symbolism and a lot of those things, it's a little sketchy, because a lot of times spirits talk to you. They will talk to you as voices, sure. But a lot of times they give you obscure answers that make no fucking sense at all. Like you're asking them a deep question in your mind, and they flash you just this picture or this symbol of something. And they're like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? And 3 months later, you realize, oh shit, that's what that means. Oh my God, wow. Or maybe you never do, because they can't tell you everything. They will talk to you. They will give you insight. They will give you downloads and gnosis. But sometimes they speak in riddles. And a lot of times they speak in riddles. Sometimes the actual verbiage they give you makes no sense either. You write down the notes that you just channeled from that spirit. You look at it the next day after you're out of that hypnagogic daze that you're in, and you read it back and it's gibberish. Let me give you one. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Some people would say, why would you share this? But I don't give a shit. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. I got millions of notes. Most of them are in a book, but I do have some of them on my phone. Bear with me, and I'll read a couple of your guys' comments here in a second. So one thing that came to me is a whisper. And this is kind of different. Sometimes they say literally regular English words that are jumbled, and you're like, I don't know what that means. But sometimes they give you ends or mantras. So a spirit I was working with over and over again, one connecting in a scrying gaze and gone in vision and disappeared from this world, from this body. Behind the connection of me and the spirit, all I heard was a congregation chanting a mantra or an N, and it was Sirium et umbrate, Sirium umbrate, Sirium umbrate, Sirium umbrate. I looked it up. It doesn't mean anything in a regular sense, but it meant something for that ritual and for that spirit. Sirium et umbrate. You're going to come down with messages that sometimes you figure out what they mean, sometimes they don't mean a fucking thing to you, or you just don't ever translate them. Can you send me that list, please? I need some advice. I usually zone out when focusing on the ends. I'm not sure which list you're talking about, but if you hit me up in my free time, I can definitely send you a list of, I think you're talking about like the order of ritual. Now, every ritual is different. Different practices will call for different things, but a basic structure is going to be what I just kind of gave you. And once you get very adept in your practice, you can change as accordingly needed. But I mean, obviously the grounding, the opening, the invocations, the offerings, the channeling, the closing, the meditation, that's just the normal structure. So I can definitely send it to you. How many times I've heard that on the meditation / foundations? Well, like I said, Natasha, that's the big thing everybody fucking skips. I want to see demons. I want to see the demons. I want to see the dead. I want to see angels. I'm like, well, don't you think you should shouldn't you learn how to play baseball before you expect you're just going to step out there and hit a home run? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? It never made sense to me. I understand the excitement and wanting to experience the paranormal, but especially with demons and things, people are like, I want to see them. I want to see. Why? You want to see a spirit that can destroy everything that you love, that is very adverse to you, and that your body, your mind, your spirit, and your soul are not tempered to deal with. It just doesn't make sense. Temper your mind, body, spirit, and soul. Work it up. Get in the gym, you know what I mean? The spiritual gym. Go through those 4 levels and strengthen them. At the same time, learn the practice and learn the structures and how that all works, so that the first time you step in there and summon a spirit, you're ready to fucking rock and roll. You're still going to get thrown for a loop and not know what the fuck you're doing once it actually comes. And it's still going to, be a lot of learning from that point, but you went about it right. The reason a lot of people get their lives fucked up is they step into diabolism. They read how to do the structures, and then they just step in and start doing it with no understanding. And then they wonder why their lives all fucked up. That there is a purpose. Last few comments, and I'll wrap up. It looks like a lot of people are starting to jump off. It's getting late. 10:21. I usually wrap up around 10:30. Tammy says, I always say it's like a recipe. If you don't do all the steps, it just doesn't turn out right. And that's exactly what it is. I've always did the same thing, but used the analogy of chemistry. If you follow a specific formula, a recipe, in chemistry, and you get it to where it works, and you get a potent concoction that is exactly what you were going for. If you didn't write down the list of how you did it, the next time you do it, it's going to be different. And it might not work or might not be as potent. The reason you write in your grimoire is you're getting that formula. This is what I did tonight. This is what I did wrong. This is what I did right. This is what I did different. So that you can go back and study, because maybe you fucked up tonight and did something what you thought was wrong, but it was the most powerful ritual you ever had. And then you're reading over and you're like, well, maybe I need to do that every time. But the point is, you know your steps, you know your formula, you know your recipe to get the end result. And once you get the end result and you know it, you have it down to a T, you follow that recipe every time. If not for all spirits, for at least that spirit that you had that perfect connection with. And maybe the next spirit's very similar, but there's some different changes to the recipe that you need to do because they prefer different things. And that is a very real thing. But if you're just throwing this and that in and you don't know how to cook, then your food's going to come out tasting like ass. And that people need to understand that. If you're just throwing a bunch of random shit in, you're going to get a result, but it's probably not going to be the result you want. And if you're making a dish, and you don't get the result you want, well, then you just throw it in the trash, right? And the only thing you lost was the material. If you make the wrong fucking dish in magic, it might be your life. It might be the life of those you love, because you fucked around and you found out. So it's probably best to learn how to cook before you fucking step into the kitchen. Or that kind of sounds silly saying that. You should learn how to cook before you make dinner for the family. I love scrying in my tetragrammaton triangle. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point. And if you're doing Solomonic or Mark magic, I mean, you should have a scrying mirror 3 feet off the ground within the tetragrammaton triangle of the art. You should be in the circle and be roughly 3 feet back. So 3 feet back, and it's 3 feet up, and you either are kneeled down or sitting or standing. I wouldn't suggest sitting for a lot of these spirits. And you're connected perfectly at the same facial height as the mirror. The dimensions are very important. Yes, the order of the ritual. Okay, yeah, hit me up. Send me a message, and I'll make sure I get you something. Yeah, Tom, Lake Shawnee coming up 1 week from today. Right now, as I'm talking to you, 1 week from now, I'll be sitting in the middle of an amusement park talking to the dead, and it'll be a good time. So, all right, guys, if anybody has any other last questions or things they want to say, drop them now. I'll stick around for just a couple more minutes. I'm jumping off here. I'm going to go do some prayers, and I'm going to get my ass to bed. Morning comes quick. Friday nights are always long for me. A lot of stuff going on Friday between prayers, ritual, meetings, work, family. It's like a 5 a.m. to fucking 2 a.m. day every week. If there are no more comments or anything anybody else wants to say, I do want to thank you for obviously joining me, everyone, for your questions, for your input, for your comments, for your love, for your support. I appreciate it. I know that most of you have been around for a while, so you know my personality and how I come across. I tell it how it is, at least how it is for me. Like I said, I don't expect everyone to resonate with it. Take what resonates, discard the rest, question everything, including me. And I appreciate you guys. Get out there, do the work, do the discipline, do the practice, do it the right way. Don't be swayed by others. Do what you feel. But make sure there's a backing behind it. Don't do it just to do it. Make sure there's a reason you're doing it. But believe in it, work your ass off, and you will reap the rewards. You are the king of your kingdom. Build it. Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate you, brother. Much love to you all. Natasha, prayers. Me too. I'm heading there now. Much love to all you guys. Have a wonderful evening. Be safe. I don't know if I'll be here next week because we're going to Lake Shawnee the next day. I'll probably be packing my bags. We'll see. If I can, I'll be here next Thursday. If not, catch me in 2 Thursdays. We're going to have a guest on the show. We're going to be talking about some wild stuff, and we'll catch you then. Much love. Frater Crow signing out for Last Caw. Caw. Thank you, Tammy. See you later.